I just thought I'd make another video on this to update some things and point out a few things that may help some people. It seems like ever since I had this lead shot plug come out, I was having problems with this motor idling. I was getting lean sneezes and just idling bad, and it would go good at high RPMs, and I just was having fits with it. And I did the repair on the lead shot plug there, and I had cleaned the carb out prior to doing that fix, but ever since then I had problems. And I was trying to adjust, my idle screw, and I did the link sync adjustment, which there's good videos on how to do that for other 30 horsepower ones I've seen on YouTube. That's how I learned. I decided to rebuild the fuel pump, and I did another video on how I checked the fuel pressure, and I believe my old pump was still working fine, but it was probably the original 30-plus-year-old one. But anyway, rebuild kit's on there. I fixed all these leaky hoses and replaced one of them with a piece of Tygon. I may have discussed that in another video, but I got rid of all my vacuum leaks that were making this motor run lean. And I also had pulled the plugs on this, and I could see that the tops of the pistons were not coated black like they should be. If it's running, say, normal, it was more of a cocoa color on top, or I don't know, a lighter color than the rest of the piston. And I knew it was running lean, and my plugs were white, and that's, I was getting the lean sneezes, and it was just driving me crazy trying to fix this thing. So out on the lake Saturday, I thought I had it tuned in. I had it idling the way I wanted, and everything was fine. And after a couple hours, I tried to start it, and it just did not want to idle. And the only way I could get it to run at idle was pull the manual primer down here, out part way in the warm-up position, I guess you call it, and it would idle for a while, but then I was flooding the engine. So I came home, did some more research on the internet, and from the advice I got, they felt it was the low speed or low idle circuits here in the carburetor, and it kind of made sense, because if I added fuel with the primer, it would idle. So I took it off, and the only thing I didn't remove were these Welsh plugs. There's two here, and there's one in the side when you take the bowl off. I don't have those. You'd have to get a rebuild kit to get those, I guess, or find somebody that has them. I cleaned it out the best I could, put it back together, and I also did a couple other things. I took my pump back apart, made sure it was together correctly. I also had an inline filter coming from my tank to the motor, just kind of hanging part way down, which I was suspecting maybe that was an issue. I wasn't sure, so I took that off. And also, something that probably nobody does when they get an old motor and boat is the pickup tube in these tanks. I decided to take the gauge assembly out and clean the screen filter on the end of that. Maybe some people don't even know there's one on there. I didn't until I took it out. So I blew that out. After that was all done, I took it to the river, backed it into the ramp, and I got it started easily. I have a tack on here, and it idled fine. I didn't even touch any of my adjustments, and I got it to where it was idling where I wanted it, you know, in gear and in neutral, and I didn't actually take it out on the water because of the river conditions today. But these are some of the things that you need to look at, I guess, when you have an old motor, is go over everything. And I'm not sure if it was a combination of things I did or if there was something stuck in the carburetor from when that lead shot broke loose on top of my carburetor. There could possibly be something still in here. There could be, I don't know if I blasted it out of there with the air and the carb cleaner and it just moved somewhere else, because I had taken this out too and tried to blow everything up out here that I could. But if it happens again where I have the same problem, I'm going to assume that there's something, maybe a piece of that lead is floating around and maybe here or somewhere in here stuck. And if I have to pull the primer out to keep it idling, I'll probably know it's something in there, and then I'll have to probably get a carb kit and pop those Welsh plugs out and see if it's somewhere floating around in there. But I just thought I'd mention these things to help people. Maybe I created my own problems by putting a fuel filter on the line there. Some people recommend putting them in here, cutting your line and putting it up here. I don't know if that made a difference or not. Like I said, I did a combination of things. The most likely suspect was the idle circuit in the carburetor, but I'm not really 100% sure until I give it a real good test again and get out on the water for an afternoon or morning. I won't know. I mean, I've replaced the primer bulb down there too, which I didn't probably really have to. It had probably a 20-year-old one on there, and it probably was due to be replaced anyway. But I just thought I'd make this to help people out. If it helps some person or more than one person, so be it. Thanks for watching.